Hello and welcome to Strength for Tomorrow Radio. Oh, that's very loud. I'm going to turn that down. Yeah, we're back for another episode. It's been a couple of months. I know I say this every time, but it's been a wee while. But there's a lot's happened. There's a lot is happening in the world, and I wanted to try and bring us up to speed and just get on top of a few issues that have been, I suppose, more prevalent in the world. GLP-1 drugs are everywhere right now. They're in the news, TikTok, WhatsApp groups, Instagram, Facebook, they're all over the place. And someone somewhere, I believe, is asking the question out loud, if not quietly, if a weekly injection can make you stop overeating, what do you need to go to the gym for? And today we're going to tackle that properly. We're going to answer it. So yeah, welcome to Strength for Tomorrow Radio. I'm Stuart, the owner and head coach here at Cross Functional Fitness in Warren Point. And this show is about cutting through all of the junk and all of the noise, all things health, training, and building a body that's going to work better for life. So let's get into it. So GLP-1 drugs, Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, you've heard all the names, and if you haven't seen the headlines, here's the short version of it. There's a class of medication that significantly reduces appetite. It helps people eat less without feeling that constant battle with their willpower, and produces meaningful weight loss. So what does that mean? Well, a lot of people, particularly those who have struggled for years, it sounds like a miracle. It genuinely sounds like a miracle for them. So I want to tackle a question that a lot of people are asking quietly, even if they don't say it out loud. If a drug can sort out my weight problem, has the gym become obsolete? Has it become optional? Is there any point in going to the gym? Now, quick disclaimer, before we go any further, I'm a coach. I'm not a doctor. I'm not medically trained. Nothing in this episode is medical advice. If you're considering GLP-1 medication or drug, whatever you want to call it, that conversation belongs between you and your doctor. What I can give you, though, is real-world coaching perspective. What happens to people's bodies, their habits, and their long-term outcomes when exercise leaves the equation, in my opinion, and from what I've seen, heard, and experienced. So yeah, let me give you a plain English version of how these drugs work, because there is a lot of confusion over it, I believe. GLP-1 stands for glucagon-like peptide 1. It's actually hormone in your body that your body produces. These drugs mimic and amplify its effect, so they basically give you a higher dosage of it. Practically speaking, what does it do? Number one, it reduces hunger. A lot of people describe it as the food noise turning off, so that constant itch to have something to eat, to satisfy that desire, that constant background hum of wanting to eat, thinking about food, feeling like you can't resist it, and just always being to the forefront of your mind. It quietens down. You don't hear that temptation. Number two, it increases feelings of fullness, so you don't even feel like that nice feeling after you have a good meal. That's there. You eat less and you feel more satisfied sooner. And the third one, it also slows down how quickly food will leave your stomach and through your digestive system, which also helps with satiety. So for people who've been struggling with fighting their appetite, feel like they're fighting against the tide, feeling like it's just their genetics, feeling like they're kind of, this is their lot for the rest of life. It's not just lacking discipline. That can be genuinely life-changing. But here's what a lot of people don't do. Sorry, here's what the GLP-1 drugs don't do. They don't build muscle. They don't improve your cardiovascular fitness. They don't strengthen your bones. They don't teach you how to eat well. They don't reduce your biological age. And they don't make you feel capable, strong, resilient, or confident. And that gap, that's the conversation where it gets really, really interesting for me. The thing a lot of people aren't talking about, and as a strength coach, it's one thing that I do care about. When you lose weight through any method, whenever your weight drops significantly, you don't just lose fat, you lose muscle as well. So that can be a problem. That's basically like a lack of active tissue. You're not going to have as much active tissue to call upon. If you lose weight through a calorie deficit combined with strength training, you can protect most of that muscle. Sometimes even build a little bit of muscle, but if you lose weight purely through appetite suppression, you're going to have a problem. No weight training, the muscle loss can be significant. Whenever you strength train, it sends a signal it lets your body know, I need to retain this muscle. Stuart's requiring this muscle of me. He's making me do hard things, and I need to get stronger, and I need to retain my strength. And that's what really, really matters. Muscle is not just about how you look. Muscle is about your metabolism. It is about what controls your blood sugar. Muscle is what keeps your joints working properly. Muscle is your posture, your balance, your ability to pick things up, get off the floor if you're on the ground, carry shopping, pick up your kids or your grandkids and throw them about. And muscle is what determines whether you keep weight off in the long term. Because lean muscle tissue burns more calories at rest than fat does, if you lose a significant amount of muscle while losing weight, you've made it harder long term. Not easier, harder to maintain that lower weight. Your basal metabolic rate actually decreases because you've lost mass, useful mass, muscle mass. The research on semaglutide specifically showed that in trials without structured exercise, a meaningful proportion of total weight loss was lean mass, not just fat. That's what the marketing wants you to believe, but that's the case. And that's a big concern for anyone thinking about long-term health and body composition. The gym isn't just nice to have when you're on GLP-1. I think it's absolutely essential. It might be the thing that determines whether your results will stick around in the long term. So what happens when you stop? This one's hard to say, but I think it's really important. A lot of people go on GLP-1 medication with the expectation that it's a short to medium term tool just to kickstart the process, just to get things going, which is understandable. It's like a bridge to healthier weight, not a permanent prescription. But the same can sometimes be said or thought of when it comes to an extreme diet, when it comes to some sort of a quick fix, a cleanse or a juicing diet or something really extreme. It's just to get the process going. But what always happens that I've seen is the weight comes piling back on and there's no real long-term result. There's no stickability from it. And the research is really clear on what tends to happen when people stop. Without strong habits in place, if you haven't changed your habits and changed what you're eating, the content of what you're eating, a significant portion of the lost weight comes back. One really major trial, Step 1 extension study on semaglutide, showed that participants regained a substantial amount of the weight they'd lost after stopping the medication. Now, that doesn't mean that the drug failed. It worked because the weight came off. That it means that obesity is really complex and it's not just a maths problem. It's also chronic, and that medication is one tool, but not a complete solution. But here's the coaching question that I have. What are you building while the drug is doing its job? So if your appetite's coming down, what are you going to try and do in the meantime? If you spend 12 to 18 months on a GLP-1 and you use that time to learn how to eat properly, you build a training habit, you understand your body and your patterns and maybe the stresses and the trauma maybe in your life that has contributed to you using food as a coping mechanism. And we all have different coping mechanisms whenever we are stressed, but there can be something much deeper than that for some people as well. Then you come off a completely different position than if you spent those same months just eating less of the same stuff and watching the scale move, eating junk food, eating crisps, eating all the usual suspects, eating sugar. The medication can reduce that noise and that temptation, but the habits are what keep the house in order. And what exercise does that no other drug can? Let me give you a list, because this isn't an opinion, this is physiology. So when it comes to strength training, what does it do? It builds, preserves lean muscle mass during weight loss. It improves insulin sensitivity, how your body handles blood sugar. It's been often described as like a sponge. So the more sponge you have, the more you could use that sugar that comes into your body, into your bloodstream. Strengthens bones, critical for anyone who's at risk of osteoporosis, which is a lot of people, especially if you're a lady over 50. It improves functional movement, balance and coordination, supports joint health, and it raises your metabolic rate, your resting metabolic rate, like we talked about earlier. Cardio training, what does it do? It improves your heart and lung capacity. It reduces your resting heart rate and blood pressure, which is obviously important for longevity and health. It improves your mood, sleep quality is going to get better, energy levels, reduces all-cause mortality risk, and this is huge. Movement in general, whether it's intense, whether it's weights, whether it's cardio, whether it's whatever it is, it's going to reduce chronic inflammation. It's going to help bring that down. It's going to improve your hormone balance, and it's got documented benefits on mental health, anxiety, depression, stress, dealing with stress. And it also builds confidence, it builds competence, it builds that sense of physical identity, that you are an active person, that you identify as somebody who, you see yourself as somebody who is active and somebody who is able to look after themselves physically. None of that can be achieved from a weekly injection. You don't gain confidence from taking a weekly injection, I would think. Maybe I'm wrong, open to being wrong. And some of it, particularly bone density and cardiovascular capacity, that doesn't just happen passively. It actively declines without stimulus. There's a tax that comes along. It's a bone density tax. It's the cardiovascular tax if you aren't providing a stimulus for it. So no, exercise is not going to go extinct, I don't believe. It's arguably more important now than ever because the drug handles one piece of the puzzle, calorie intake, but leaves everything else firmly in your court. You've got a responsibility. And with our health service the way it is, we need to start, as a collective people group, we need to start taking responsibility, I believe, for our health in every way in which we can. Obviously there are times when there are things that go wrong in our bodies that are maybe outside of our control, but the things that are inside our control, it's never been more important, I don't think, to take care of our own health and take responsibility for it. How we're sleeping, how we're eating, stress management and training. My coaching take, so who should seriously consider GLP-1? A lot of people assume that I'm automatically against it across the board, but I don't think I am. And I'll explain why. I think whenever you roll out any medication mass market across and say everybody should be on it, or this, that, or the other type of person should be on it, I think you're in for trouble. And that goes for lots of things that I'm not qualified to talk about, but I will talk about in private if you want to. I want to be clear, I'm not anti-GLP-1. That's not what this episode is about. There are people for whom the risk-reward calculation looks very different. If someone's carrying serious excess body weight and it's affecting their blood sugar, their blood pressure, their sleep, their mobility, their ability to train, to move their body, then the benefits of getting that weight moving and getting it off can outweigh the downsides of the medication. And there are some downsides, but when you're in that position, losing weight isn't just about looking better for holidays. And again, looking better is subjective, it's not objective. It's about adding years to your life and life to your years, the old saying goes. And in that context, GLP-1 medication used properly, with medical supervision, with lifestyle support, with a strength training program alongside it, can make a real difference. The people I think have a reason to use it are supervised by a doctor, not prescribing it by yourself from an online pharmacy or something, using it as a bridge and not the goal. The goal is not to continue on this indefinitely, in my opinion. I don't think that should be the goal. Combining it with strength training and proper nutrition support and habits, I think that for me is the big takeaway. Is trying to make sure that there is a plan and there's an outcome, and you're working on the habits and you're working on the training at the same time, and having an exit plan, a strategy for what happens when the medication stops. So if you start reducing it, and again, that's a conversation you need to have with your doctor, but I think for people who are having real mobility issues, like struggling to even move their bodies at all, who are starting to feel like a bit of a burden to themselves, then there's a case for it. We all have to weigh up the risks and rewards in life. So whenever you get into your car, the reward is you get to a destination fairly seamlessly, compared to getting a bus or a train or waiting on a thumb on a lift. The risk is you could be in a car accident. You could hit a pothole on our wonderful Northern Ireland roads and get a flat tire. Who probably doesn't need it? This is the other side of it. If your goal is simply, I just want to lose a bit of weight before the holidays in the summer, then to be perfectly honest, in my opinion, just my opinion, feel free to dismiss it, I think exercise and food quality would give you everything you're looking for, and in the long term, without the side effects, without the cost, and without a set of skills that you keep forever. The lifestyle approach, eating for satiety, building the right training habits, sorting out your sleep, getting your movement, your steps in, that all works. It works really, really, really well, and it's sustainable for life, building those habits into your lifestyle. GLP-1 drugs have known side effects: nausea, constipation, fatigue, reflux, stomach issues, diarrhea. Some people get them really badly and some people get them mildly. They're not free. They're also, they come at a cost. So I don't know what the situation is in this country at the minute, but they're always coming back and forth. They're free, they're not free, they're going up in price, they're this, that and the other. They're not always going to be free, I would think. I think for some people maybe they will be, but the problem with being reliant on it is, what if you no longer have access to it? What if you suddenly can't get your hands on it anymore? What happens then? Are you going to feel like you aren't capable of controlling your nutrition anymore? If you're choosing between a bit of effort and some good habits and a weekly injection with side effects, and your goal is to drop a stone for a holiday, if that's in your head, the numbers don't add up in favour of the injection. And for some people, dropping a stone on holiday could be very, very unhealthy, and it probably wouldn't be advisable, because, as we said, you can drop weight, but if you're not doing something to maintain the muscle, you're probably going to drop muscle, which is useful tissue, which is metabolically active tissue, which is going to then hamper you long term, and you're probably going to have a rebound effect and put on more weight long term whenever you aren't trying to diet as hard. This is really relevant to because, like, listen, there's a lot, I want to get this right, there's a lot of people who are on these medications. We know they're on them, and they're not saying they're on them, they're not admitting that they're on them, and there's no shame. If you're taking them, you're taking them. If you've had dramatic weight loss, people are going to know that you're on this. But I'm not really concerned. There's no judgment. I don't, like, it's none of my business. But I think strength training and stuff that us and other gyms and coaches, what we offer, is going to be a really, really helpful addition to whatever it is you're taking, to make sure that you get the results that you initially intended to get, and you're going to do it in a healthy way, and it's going to help your long-term health. So the Satiety approach, this is really practical. Let me give you an example of what we actually coach. If you want to feel fuller, eat less, and lose fat without medication, here is the framework that we use. Protein at every meal. This is a non-negotiable. So chicken, beef, eggs, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, all that kind of stuff. Protein is the most satiating macronutrient. It also protects your muscle while you're in deficit. I would aim to make it the anchor of every single plate. It's the first thing you should think about putting on your plate for breakfast, lunch and dinner, and even snacks if you're going to snack. We'll get to that in a wee minute. High volume, high fibre food, so vegetables, fruit, potatoes, oats, beans, pulses. These will fill your plate. They'll also fill your stomach, and they'll feed your gut microbiome. Research has shown that diets built around these, minimally processed, so trying to cut out refined carbohydrates and processed food, will result in significantly less calorie intake, not because of willpower, but because the food itself is hyper palatable and more filling. It's going to keep you feeling full. More volume equals more filling. Reduce and remove ultra processed junk. So it's not because they're evil, there's no morality attached to it, but because they're designed to be overeaten. A bag of crisps can be gone in 2 minutes or less. If you're me, I can't have them. A plate of chicken, roast and veg, it's not going to disappear as quickly. You're going to get sick of it before you overeat on it. The food environment matters more than most people realize. Controlling your environment, that's a big theme that we talk about in nutrition and nutrition coaching that we offer. Controlling your environment. If you have a really troublesome environment and you have temptation all around you, it's going to be harder to say no to that over and over and over and over again. If you control your environment, it's easier to say no to it whenever temptation arises. And strength training 2 to 4 times a week, because the goal is never just to lose weight. That we always try and emphasize that, and we try and educate our clients and get some sort of agreement from them on that very early on. The goal is to lose fat, keep muscle, and build a body that's going to function well. And those two things look the same on the scale, but feel completely different in the mirror and in real life, and in the scanner that we have here, the Tanita scanner, which is going to show your body composition. Daily movement is really important as well. So steps, get out walking the dog, stairs instead of the lift. This stuff all compounds over weeks, months, and in a way, most people really underestimate how much that can add up across a few months and a year. Sort your sleep out. Sleep has been shown to directly impact what you eat the following day, how your body deals with sugar, and how your body builds and retains muscle. Poor sleep wrecks your hunger hormones. Ghrelin, that's your hunger hormone, it goes up. Leptin, that's your I'm full hormone, it goes down. So if you fix your sleep, you can get to bed earlier, you can turn off Netflix and go to bed earlier and get at least 7-8 hours. Fixing that will fix your appetite and help you win the battle the next day and the next day and the next day. That's the system, and it works every day in this gym. I see it work. I see it whenever it's applied properly. So, has GLP-1 made exercise extinct, or will it make exercise and the gym extinct? Will it be obsolete? Maybe obsolete's a better word. Might retitle this. I don't think so. I don't think it's even close. What GLP-1 can do for the right person in the right situation with the right support and the right advice is to reduce the appetite battle enough to make that calorie deficit more manageable. What it cannot do for you is build you. It can't make you strong. It can't give you denser bones. Can't make your heart healthier. It can't make your balance sharper, your coordination better, or improve your confidence in your body. It might do on a superficial level, but it's not going to from on a deeper level, on a accomplishment level, on a physicality level. It cannot teach you how to eat, and it cannot give you all of the habits you'll need whenever the prescription runs out or whenever you can't get access to it. Exercise isn't just burning calories. It never was. It should never have been marketed that way. I think that's been a massive failing in the fitness industry, and it's still going on, unfortunately. It's about building a body and a life that functions well, feels good and lasts, about maintenance and growth. And that bit, that's still down to you. There's no medication can do that for you yet, and I don't think it's going to come anytime soon. If you need help with eating for satiety, or you're on a GLP-1 and you want to do it properly with adding in some strength training and some suitable habits alongside it, send us a message and just say the word satiety and I'll know what you're talking about and I'll point you in the right direction. Until next time, thank you for listening. If this was useful, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. Please share it anyway, even for the people who don't need to hear it. They might need to hear it sometime. And I will catch you in the next one. So until the next one, don't forget, train today so you can be stronger tomorrow.